Hey YouTube, it's NowIAmNappy, and I'm back for another Tip Tuesday. So this week I'm going to talk about common causes for hair loss and how to prevent it, especially for women of African descent. So my first time experiencing crown-related hair loss for me started about 7 to 8 years ago. I talk about it here in my hair loss story, which I'll add up here for you guys. And it was due to my anemia, my low iron levels. And so I shared that story with you guys, and that's kind of what spurred me or made me want to do this video for you guys today to kind of talk about some of the reasons and causes for crown hair loss, as well as some of the ways to prevent it and possibly reverse it before it is too late, or before it's completely gone, all right? So the most common form of hair loss for African American women is called centrifugal cicatricial alopecia. CCA. I'm not going to repeat it again. Just CCA from here on out. All right. So this is actually the most common form of scarring-related hair loss or scarring-related alopecia for African American women. And it's in the crown area because it starts as like a small circle and it works its way out. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little brief history, and then we're going to go right into some of the most common causes of this. All right, so initially in the 1960s, before it became the CCA, it was initially called hot comb alopecia, because the only common causes that they were aware of at the time was Black women who were using the hot comb and petroleum to press their hair, and they were saying that the petroleum was heating up and destroying the hair follicle damage. It was heating up the scalp and causing damage to the follicles underneath, and eventually causing hair loss. So it wasn't until 1992 that they began looking at other causes for African American hair loss. In particular, a study was done because there was African American women who were showing up who never used the hot comb before with the same type of crown-related hair loss. And they noticed that it was hair loss that started again at the root. So they noticed a degeneration at the root or the follicle. So that damage was gone, and once it's gone, there's no way to reverse it. And they believed during that time that this was caused from too tight hairstyles, it was caused from chemicals, or some type of form of trauma to the scalp and to the hair follicle. Now, generally before you start to become completely bald in that area, you may notice some other symptoms other than hair shedding. And that may be a sore or tender scalp right in that crown area, or maybe excess itching or scratching or a tingly sensation or burning sensation that you may not quite understand why it's there. Now, if you're experiencing any of those, I'm going to recommend, of course, the premise of this video is that you should go to your doctor or dermatologist. If you can find a Black dermatologist, I recommend that to help you diagnose and treat this issue before you get to a point of where you can't reverse it, okay? So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 of the most common causes of CCA. Now, the first cause is allergies that lead to dermatitis. So a lot of us in the springtime or in the fall time, we notice our allergies start to act up. We're sneezing or coughing. We get that hay fever, or some of us are allergic to other things, other fruits, other metals, other stuff. And some of those things may be found in our hair products, all right? When we're using all natural ingredients or chemical synthetic ingredients, they can irritate the scalp. So as you're constantly putting them on your scalp and you're using it, you're constantly scratching. So your scalp is becoming inflamed, and as you continue to do that, you continue to scratch and you continue to damage the hair follicles, okay? So that will then lead to thinning and then possibly CCA hair loss over time. So I'm going to recommend that if you notice a trend, like every time you get out of the shower after wash day, you notice your scalp is really itchy still. And you're like, I just washed my hair should not be this itchy. Or you put on one product and you notice your scalp is still, again, very itchy. I think the best thing to do is to try each product one at a time to find out what is causing your hair to itch, or what is maybe you're possibly allergic to, and then remove that from your regimen completely. Like a lot of people I know say, oh, coconut oil, it makes my hair very itchy, or it makes my hair very dry, or whatever the case. Stop using it. Use another oil. And you may notice that you can't use nut oils, so you might need to use another type of oil. Okay, so just trying out different hair products that doesn't cause itchiness or soreness in your scalp. So next up is genetics, and now doctors don't technically know the cause of CCA. It could possibly be from too much DHT, which causes hair loss, or they say if your mother has it and your grandmother has it, more than likely you're gonna have it. It's just genetics. But, and this is what I like to say is it genetics, or is it possibly the same hair practices that are passed down from generation to generation that cause the same type of balding or hair loss? And that leads me to my second point, and that is too tight hairstyles. Now, as Black women, we love to do cornrows or braids or possibly that high bun. And I'm queen of doing a good high bun. But a lot of that causes a lot of tension in the crown area, and that can really cause the follicles to become inflamed and eventually die. All right. So the best thing I can recommend for you guys is to switch up your hairstyles, all right? And don't always use braids with maybe extension added. Don't always use cornrows that are too tight. If you like to wear a bun, switch up your bun. Do a high bun, a low bun. Look for other low tension hairstyles like this style that I have today. I posted it in my video yesterday or 2 days ago if you're curious. This is a really low tension hairstyle. Everything's low, and so there's no tension on my crown area. So switching it up helps to really prevent that crown breakage. Additionally, we want to look at our wash day practices. We became so programmed to section our hair into 4, right? And then apply products and wash our hair like that. But that is a lot of tension on that crown area as we braid and twist and moisturize and pull and pull and pull away, causing breakage and tension to that area, causing it to become inflamed, which can cause degeneration to the hair roots. So instead of wash day using 4 sections, I recommend adding maybe a 5th or 6th section. And instead of doing that typical 4, you do the 4 and then you part 1 in the middle and give yourself a 5th section. Now, a lot of people may notice that their crown section is actually a different porosity than the rest of their hair. So that will allow you to give that section personal treatment. Maybe it needs more protein. Maybe you need to use a heavier butter. It's my dog. Or maybe you need to use a heavier butter on that area to help seal and lock in that moisture to prevent that damage and that breakage while washing and styling your hair. So next up I'm going to talk about is hormones and vitamin deficiencies, and I'm going to put them together because they both require you to go to a doctor to find out what's going on. So hyperthyroidism is a very common hormonal issue that leads to hair loss. Some of the symptoms are extreme sweating, rapid heartbeat, irritation. You'll notice your hair is thinning. And brittle, and you definitely want to go to a doctor to help to get diagnosed, to help find out what's going on. And then of course vitamin deficiency, which is very, very important to me because it happened to me. All right, so it was during a period of time where I had a diet that was low in protein and low in iron, and I became very anemic and I didn't know what was going on. I just kept thinking I'll be fine. And it wasn't until I went to the doctors and I was diagnosed that I learned that my crown-related hair loss was due to my anemia. So it can be due to a number of other causes or other vitamin deficiencies such as vitamin D, vitamin B. So you want to make sure when you go to your doctor, you get that blood test, whether that's yearly, biannually, whatever it is. Get tested to find out. So if you're experiencing hair loss, go to the doctor, okay? Now finally, and this is going to be it for you guys, is gravity and UV damage. We know that the crown of our hair is the highest point of our body, and it actually receives the lowest blood flow. And we know blood flow is important. It delivers nutrients to that area, which helps to stimulate hair growth. So definitely gently massaging that area will help produce blood flow, and it's also the reason why inversion works. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you guys to do inversion because I know certain people with medical issues cannot do inversion. So if you can't do inversion, I recommend you work out because that will also increase blood flow, and then do a scalp massage with oils. Now, of course, you know I'm going to throw that little caveat in there because I love my oils and herbal oils, okay? Herbal oils, because some of the herbs that I recommend to you guys help to reduce inflammation in the scalp, okay? Such herbs as ashwagandha, amla, fenugreek, rosemary, turmeric, neem, all of those contain and possess anti-inflammatory properties. So when you soak those or use those in an herb or an herbal mask or herbal oil and you massage your scalp with them very gently, okay? Because a lot of people, if you massage too rough, you can also make your scalp very sore as well. That can also help to reduce some of that inflammation and help your hair to begin to heal itself again. And finally, I'm going to just go ahead and talk about that UV damage, because you guys, the sun is very powerful, and that is the crown is the highest point of our head and receives the most UV rays and the most damaging to our hair follicles. So we want to make sure we are protecting our scalp whenever it's really sunny out, either with a hat or perhaps with using some oils. Now I'm going to recommend one oil that I know off the top of my head is red raspberry oil, which has a very high SPF in it. To use that to oil your scalp if you know you're going to be outside, and then protecting it, a hat, a scarf, something, especially if you're going to be in the sun for a long period of time. All right, so that's it. That's all the tips that I have for today. If you are experiencing hair loss, again, I'm going to say go to your doctor and find out what's going on, and try to get that and try to catch it early enough, you guys, before it's completely gone, because once the scarring is there, there's no way to really reverse it right now. Okay, so don't forget to check out my blog, you guys. I will have a lot more details and a lot more information on the blog for you guys about this. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you know anyone suffering from hair loss, I recommend you show them this video and tell them to go to the doctor. That's it for this week. I'll see you next time. Bye.